The two Seeles have a touching reunion. Both think that the tower is their best bet to traverse between the bubble worlds, but they are wary because of Mistalin. Suddenly, the conversation is cut off. Mistalin appears out of nowhere and explains that the conversation was blocked because of the laws of this world. Much like how the Cocoon of Finality governs the proper world, the bubble worlds have their own unique laws. One of the laws of this bubble world is that the sage can go between the worlds of the living and the dead. Seele, as someone with two souls in one body, became the second sage after making contact with her counterpart from the other world. This ended up causing many anomalies in both bubble worlds. To prove that what she's saying is true, Mistalin teaches Seele how to use the sage's authority and gain a view of the city. Seele sees a bunch of quantum shadows attacking civilians and takes control over one of the oracles to save them. After that, Seele's projection goes to the country of Fire and Sand. During that moment, we see that Dark Seele can also manifest the sage's authority. After returning to her body, Seele is engulfed by a strong pain. The one chosen by the tower must also be trapped by the tower. This is another law of this bubble world. To stop the pain, she must get to the tower ASAP. Mistalin transports them to the bottom of the tower. Seele feels much better and they go inside. Vita remains outside since it might be too dangerous for her. After entering, the original sage tells them that they have to clear a set of trials she prepared for them. Seele is angry because the sage is wasting time while the civilians have to suffer. But the sage is like, yeah, no, you still have to clear my trials. While fighting monsters on the first floor, Dark Seele joins in. Schrödinger explains that they were able to re-establish the connection because they are in the tower and the sage's authority is more stable here. With some help from Mistalin, Seele and the rest skip a few stages, and after beating one of Prometheus's machines, they are allowed to go to the top. And speaking of Prometheus, shout out to Minotaur10 for finding the chibi Prometheus in the last video. Seele goes to a portal that is supposed to lead her to the sage, only to hear Dark Seele arguing with fake Seele from chapter 36 inside a place that looks like their mind space. Fake Seele wants Light Seele to give up on being the sage, since it's a path that will only bring her suffering. After Seele refuses, Fake Seele retreats. Seele arrives at the top of the tower and learns that because there are two sages, the world is treading towards destruction. To stop that, one of them has to die. After a grueling fight, Seele wins and becomes the only sage of the high tower. The previous sage reveals that making Seele the complete sage was part of her plan all along. While the world stopped collapsing, the sage is looking weaker with every second. Mistalin appears out of nowhere and tells them that the authority of the sage was sustaining her life, since she is an abnormal stigma born solely to fulfill that duty. The two Seeles are confused and demand an explanation. The previous sage creates a dream of the past to show them why she did everything. It turns out that the sage was just a local legend at the beginning, and not all the people from the bubble world believed in it. One day, Abnormal Stigma 14 appeared in the city and saved the citizens from monsters. Due to Project Stigma messing with the proper world, multiple Stigma-like entities were born in the Sea of Quanta and took different forms. In this bubble world, the Abnormal Stigma took the form of a local legend, the Sage of the High Tower. After witnessing Abnormal Stigma 14 taking care of this world, the two Seeles wonder why would she give up on her role. Fake Seele suddenly appears and mentions that every time the previous sage transported a soul to the afterlife, she lost a part of herself. The sage realized that as an abnormal stigma, she does not have the power to stabilize souls, which is why they are stuck as wisps in the underworld. Fake Seele tells them that if they become the new sage, they'll be stuck in the tower, cancelling souls for eternity. They are suddenly transported to the Sea of Quanta, where they witness Grey Serpent's death. He was killed by Fake Seele, who was born in that moment. She is actually a part of the original sage that was discarded while she was transporting souls. As a final gambit, Fake Seele decides to fight them directly. After she is defeated, Mistalin and the previous sage send her to the Stigma space. It is revealed that this entire dream was a trap set up by Mistalin to capture Fake Seele. Mistalin explains that she was another abnormal stigma that she dubbed Abnormal Stigma 15, born from the sage's will to live that fell off when she was transporting souls. Since she was literally her survival instinct, she wanted to do everything in her power to protect the sage's life, and that's why she kept trying to pursue Seele and giving up. After Seele accepts the role of the sage, Abnormal Stigma 14 thanks her and disappears. Mistalin confirms that the sage didn't truly die and that she just went back to her stigma space. While consoling the souls in the underworld, Seele suddenly feels a piercing pain. The world starts collapsing again and everybody is confused. Mistalin seems to realize something and apologizes, saying that replacing the sage turned out to be futile and the two worlds are fated to collapse either way. Seele is commanding the oracles to help the citizens. The situation is under control for now, but the collapse of the two bubble worlds is imminent. Mistalin says that the reason for this disaster might be related to a law of this world higher than the sage itself. This law is accelerating the merging of the two bubble worlds. The reason why Mistalin brought the two Seeles and Senti here was to use them as a template for harmonizing human and non-human beings. She wanted to observe how Light Seele, who is a human, and Dark Seele, who is an idea, can coexist, and use that data to find a solution and stabilize the two bubble worlds. Oh, and Senti and Fu Hua were supposed to serve as a backup template, fact that really annoyed Senti. Unfortunately, Fu Hua was nowhere to be found after the failed teleportation. Mistalin doesn't know what happened to her, but she trusts that she'll be fine either way. I mean, she's right, but Jesus, the lack of accountability on this woman. Mistalin points out that Kira might be hiding something for them. Kira admits that she kept some things secret due to her distrust of Mistalin. Of course. But now that she figured out that Mistalin wasn't her target, she is willing to tell them. Flashback time! Kira and Nigurat were sent to a dead bubble world by the Elder of the Sugars on the suspicion that it might have a connection with the Sky People. Upon arriving, they find a bunch of constructs that look like the APHO monsters but have a white and purple color palette instead of red. Nigurat detects an electrical signal coming from nearby. While chasing the signal, Nigurat notes that the Sky People were designed into existence by another entity. That entity is who the Sugars are afraid of, not the Sky People themselves. They come across a man-made base, which is the source of the signal. Nigurat accidentally triggers a hologram of a man. He introduces himself as Charter, the manager, and many more of this base, known as Miracle Park Atlas. This was a sanctuary that served as the last home for the people of this bubble world. Charter shows them a virtual world that allows them to witness the past. Basically, what happened here is that the resources of this bubble world were running thin and they were in dire need of a new energy source. One day they discovered a new energy source called Star Rock, which the people claim to be very stable. Oh, and Kira dubbed this bubble world Fallen Star. As the years passed, the Star Rock became more unstable and started exploding randomly. While it was being excavated, the Star Rock was not a natural mineral, but a manifestation born of the wishes of the people. As the Star Rock started causing even more explosions all over the planet, the citizens were forced to retreat in underground bunkers. One day, all the Star Rocks on the planet exploded simultaneously, turning everything into a desolated desert. Not even the people inside the shelters were able to survive. Charter was an AI made in the likeness of one of the researchers to help manage the base. While telling his story, Charter suddenly goes insane and tries to trap Kira and Nigurat inside the shelter. After stopping the rampaging AI, they find the body of the real Dr. Charter inside the simulation. Near it, there is a slip of paper and a pen with the letter V. After returning to the Sugars, Elder Compeito says that the Star Rock is an anomaly that shouldn't be ignored. He observed many bubble worlds that were mysteriously destroyed under similar circumstances. He thinks that the invisible malice hidden under the laws of the bubble worlds is the cause of this. This entity is the being behind the Sky People, the true abyss of the Sea of Quanta. Sa. Kira came to Salt Snow Holy City because she thought that it might be related to Sa. The reason why she attacked Mistalin was because she thought that she might be Sa's minion due to how inhuman she felt. When the Sugars observed this bubble world in the past, it only had one world in it, but at some point another one suddenly appeared, just like the star rock from Fallen Star. Schrödinger says that the only being capable of creating another bubble world out of thin air would be the Cocoon of Finality, which means that this Sa must be a similar existence. There may be a way to save this bubble world by anchoring it to an external point. However, the only ones that could do such a thing would be Kiana herself, whose authority transcends all dimensions, or a Herrscher born in the Sea of Quanta. Since creating a Herrscher born in the Sea of Quanta is not a feasible plan, the only viable solution is to get help from Kiana. So, for this plan to work, they need an anchor point to move the bubble worlds closer to Kiana in the proper world. Mistalin wants to use the tower since it serves as a fixed axis in both bubble worlds. Seele can use the Sage's authority to find anchor points in space that, when linked to the tower, can create a world-level anchor capable of moving the bubble worlds. All that remains now is a path back to the proper world, which requires someone good at navigating the Sea of Quanta. Kira nominates Mistalin, who agrees after pondering on it for a while. Schrödinger wants to hear Vita's opinion, but Vita feigns ignorance. Suddenly, one of the oracles attacks her. She dodges the attack and the rest deal with the oracle. They find it suspicious that Vita had been attacked by oracles twice now. Vita starts panicking and mentions that there must be a problem with Prometheus's AI. Prometheus reiterates that the oracles have nothing to do with her technology and that they shouldn't attack any regular citizen. Kira accuses Vita of lying since she knew what AI was, despite claiming earlier that she never heard of it. Having no other choice, Vita reveals that she is not from this bubble world, but a refugee from Fallen Star. Dr. Charter was her friend, hence why the letter V on his pen in Kira's flashback. She was part of a team sent out to find a new home from the people of the bubble world, similar to Project Ark, and that's how she survived. The oracles kept attacking her because they could tell that she wasn't from this bubble world. And what's even crazier is that she's not a native of Fallen Star either. She is from Mars, I mean Venus. The Venusian civilization was destroyed by the Honkai long ago, and she fled into the Sea of Quanta. During her travels, she visited many bubble worlds like Kunming's original bubble world and the ELF's bubble world. After explaining everything, they ask Vita if she can provide any help. Vita is in the possession of her interferometer, a type of nanomachine implanted inside the body of a human that can be used to calculate the future. With the right plugins, the interferometer can be used as a supercomputer to help them navigate. After Susannah summarizes the plan, the two groups begin their preparations. Vita, speaking through a small robot, guides Susannah and Kira to the location of the anchors in space. The recovery procedure continues to go smoothly, for the most part. After they arrive at the last anchor, Susannah feels a blinding light piercing through her body and wakes up to see Elviter in her Valkyrie uniform. She's 8 years in the future on the mission with the Immortal Blades to investigate a place that looks like Sand Fontaine. The events happening here might be during the attack of the Sky People in APHO. Susannah and Elviter retreat inside Saad Station, and after a heartwarming discussion they meet with Durandal and Rita. Susannah gets so excited that she falls off a building and wakes up back in Salt Snow Holy City. Schrödinger and Senti get in touch with them, revealing that all of them had a vision about the future. Kira dreamt about the concert from her event story, while Senti saw a small planet at the border of the solar system. Gee, I wonder what could that be? Vita apologizes for messing things up and they move on to the next phase. Inside their shared mind space, Dark Seele recalls what she saw in the future. The gist of her vision is that Light Seele died during the events in Salt Snow Holy City, and Dark Seele blamed herself for what happened since she promised to protect her. She was so affected by her loss that she refused to accept reality. But what could she do? Light Seele was gone. Unless she became Light Seele. To cope with her loss, Dark Seele started pretending to be Light Seele to the point where she completely lost her real identity. Occasionally, she would remember the truth, have a mental breakdown and resume the act from the beginning. What the freak is wrong with you, HoYoverse? Back in reality, Dark Seele lies and says that she only saw them having a bad argument in the future. Light Seele apologizes on the behalf of her future self and believes that no matter what she saw, Dark Seele has her best interest at heart. Mistalin reveals that she used the remnants of Project Stigma to build a bridge to the proper world. Susannah is the best suited to carry the world level anchor on this path, since she's the closest to being a basic closest to being a regular Earthling. This girl is losing even when she's winning. Susannah has self-confidence issues, which make her hesitate and have a panic attack. Kira tries to help her build some self-confidence, and after an uplifting conversation, Susannah is ready to go. Mistalin opens up a path to the proper world, Vita will guide Susannah on the most optimal route, and Kira will accompany her as far as she can. As they advance, Susannah and Kira encounter a strange portal thingy. Kira says that it's a singularity created by Mistalin forcefully opening the Sea of Quanta. They must avoid it at any cost because it can throw them off of the right path. They encounter a giant wave of monsters and Kira remains behind to stall them. Susannah continues moving forward but gets caught by one of the singularities and thrown off to an unknown location. Vita tries to help her get back on the right path, but Susannah feels powerless to the point of crying. She blames herself for everyone's failure but manages to steer her resolve and continue her mission. She figures out her position and gets back on the right path. With her last ounce of strength, Susannah arrives in the Sea of Quanta near the proper world and meets up with Bronya, Tesla and Einstein, who are also searching for them. She tells them what's happening, however, the path back to the bubble world suddenly disappears. Vita, Mistalin and Kira, who are in the Sea of Quanta, also lose contact with the bubble world. Vita wonders if this is sus doing, after which she starts fading away and disintegrates into nothingness.